Hello YouTube. Today I'm taking a look at Home Wars. I've been meaning to get more content on my channel over the course of the past week, but it's been hot as Hades here. It's been around 100 degrees. In fact, it's I think over 100 degrees today, temperature-wise, not only heat index. But it's one of those things, you get to this time of the year, everybody's running their air conditioning, and that can cause little things called power surges. Yesterday I tried to stream a flight session with FSX, got about 45 minutes into it, and, well, power surge happened, all the computer stuff shut down. As a result of that, and, well, that's kind of been what's been happening anytime I sit down to try to do video editing and game capture and stuff like that. So today I'm going to be looking at one of the things that I picked up during the same summer sale and I had a few dollars left over, and this is Home Wars. Normally retails for $10. It's a mix of real-time strategy as well as turn-based resource management in a universe where you are fighting bugs, insects, over a home using green plastic army men and plastic army toys. So yeah, I typically like to have a game, something like this, and I've liked kind of the little plastic toy soldier games. I've had a number of tower defense games like that over the years on mobile devices. The Cold War Toy Story, or a toy game that was on Xbox some years ago. Toy Soldiers, I think it was called. So yes, this is a turn-based strategy. This is the map. I believe there's 4 different maps currently. And while the game doesn't have the most sophisticated graphics in the world, I think it kind of goes to show that you can have good games without absolutely super realistic, detailed graphics. It's one of those things, I guess you kind of design for the game aesthetics, but at only $10, this isn't a bad little game. So we have plastic, metal, batteries as your primary resources. Then you have flammable liquid, I think, and toxic gas. And then experience. Oddly enough, experience doesn't go up a lot with combat as much as it does from building certain buildings in your production area. And that's where this is in your kid's bedroom. We're going to need a power station. A metal factory. This produces metal. And I wish this was a little bit more, because it's like, well, does it produce this per turn? Or does it consume that per turn? It's a little unclear here. But we're going to need a plastic factory. The plastic factory is probably the most important. Now also here, I'm going to close that management panel. And some of the panels overlap a little bit. That's a little bit of annoying. And the other thing is, I didn't see anything to autosave at the end of every turn, every day. I wish that feature was there, as again, over the past couple of days, I've tried to record videos, and it sucks to get 20 minutes into a video and then, you know, power outage or whatnot, and you just lost 20 minutes of game time because you forgot to save or you're unable to save or something like that. So I wish there was an autosave at the end of every turn. So those are kind of my biggest gripes about it, and to me the camera is a little bit clunky, maybe not to people who play a lot of real-time strategy games. But this tells you what's going on with your enemy. This is where you build new armies. You also have to manage ammunition. So it is possible that your men will use up the ammo, so you've got to keep on top of ammunition supplies for your troops. Now, troops do not have any maintenance costs associated with them. And this is where you use experience points to unlock various vehicles and troops and things of that nature. And I'm going to go over here. I'm going to unlock the supply truck and the sapper or combat engineer if you want. Those are the critical ones to unlock initially that I found. They have a market where you can trade goods, and then other observer unlocks and stuff that you develop on down the line. So this is pretty much all that we can do for the end of day 1 here, so we'll go ahead and let it run. And these are your enemies. You know, they've got fresh food. I guess that's rancid food. Or high protein food, I guess is what they have going on there. Tells you what your enemy. The enemy is at level 1. Let's see here. Now, interestingly enough, to gain experience, really, you need to build a military academy. We don't have enough to build one right now. But I think I'm going to go ahead and build another plastic factory here. And again, that's all that we can do. End of day one. And the bugs have captured the living room. So now we're going to have to get into the business of building an army here. So we're going to recruit a new army. Going to go with riflemen. And it just so happens to cost 1,200 plastic. And you can choose different weapons, different type of ammos, depending on what's going on. You could even go to individual troops and change, I don't know if that's for all of them or not, or if you can change individual. Any rate, we're going to create our new army. And we have our first new army, and you can double click on it, Army 0. We're going to call it the 1st Rifle Company. Actually, I guess with 30 it would be Platoon. Save the name. And of course they can't move at the end of the first turn. So we're going to move him over here. And then for the sake of gaining a few more points, we're going to do something that's going to be a little bit strange here. I don't know if anybody else that does this playing this game, but I'm going to create three new armies like that, and they're going to go and capture this room, and hopefully this room here. But in addition to this, we are also going to create a new main army. This is going to be the 1st Support Platoon with a supply truck, 2 engineers, and then we're going to add as many light riflemen as we can. These guys are nowhere as effective as riflemen, but... And then we're going to go ahead and end our turn. So yes, all of these guys are going to be moving up. Ooh. And they've also captured into here. Don't know. I think we can go into here and capture the kitchen. The kitchen is a prime area for them to gather resources, so it's very critically important that we capture and defend that early. Rest of these guys can't move. I think we have enough there to defend, but at 1,210 we're going to go ahead and build another army of riflemen. And we're going to end our turn. Now, if you're the first person into a room, it doesn't matter if you have an army of 1 or an army of 100, you'll capture that room. So we're going to go ahead and capture those rooms. I don't see where capturing those rooms actually provide us any additional resources per se, but I'm going to go ahead and just capture them because reasons. And again, we're going to recruit another army of riflemen. And end the turn. Now, he can only stay there for 2 turns, else the units will be destroyed. But I did this primarily to see what our tactical situation here. They got 16 bugs defending that flag. The only good bug is a dead bug. That army can't move. But that army can move. So we're going to go ahead and build a reinforcement army in case one of ours gets wiped out. And that can move on the next turn. I don't know. We got 54 allied units. They have 16. I think we can go on the offensive. So we're going to fight, and this is kind of the introduction to the real-time strategy element here. Since we don't occupy that room, that's not a zone that we can deploy troops. We can only deploy troops over here. They can deploy troops from that position or that position. Now I'm going to go ahead and pause it here. And now it's interesting to note there's 16 groups of enemy. And those groups, depending on their type, could be 20 enemies each or 15 enemies each. Something like that, where you only have so many troops available, and they're individual troops. That's not like a battalion of troops where each one of these is 30 troops. No, it's only one troop. And no matter, you set up the ratios and stuff like that, we can only have a max of 60 on the field. They can have a max of 401 out on the field under the current settings. So you kind of got to watch what units you're going to place and when. And we've got to defend the Allied outposts, so they're going to try to attack that facility. Now he's going to be our engineer, and he can use battle points, and battle points will go up as you place more units on the battlefield and just increases naturally over time. Excuse me. A little bit after lunch. So they can build engineering structures. We're going to go ahead and build 2 barbed wire shelters, which I believe protect from aerial assault. So that'll help some of our ground troops and stuff like that survive a little bit longer. And then you can put out glue traps and things like this, which is barbed wire, which will slow down the enemy rather significantly, actually. So we're going to go ahead and place a bunch of overlapping barbed wire. Now, they will degrade over time as enemies walk over them. But this will help us create a much more substantial killing field, basically. And you can see glue traps cost slightly less in terms of battle points. And battle points carry over. So if you don't use all of your battle points in this battle, they build up over time. So if you can get by without having to use one in a battle, that's usually a good idea. So now we've got to put the rest of our troops on the field. Huh. Bet you it's a camera issue. Or not. And for some reason, I seem like I invalid position. Okay, is there some reason why? now this guy has to go over and build all of them, but apparently for some reason I can't place any additional... Oh, I think I have to have battle points in order to deploy them onto the field. I hadn't realized that. Oops. So this engineer has to go through and basically land on all of these tiles in order to construct the items. And if it's light green, it means it's proposed to be constructed, and then if it turns a darker green, I wish there was a little bit better of a clarification, because sometimes it can be hard to tell if it's light green or dark green in certain lighting conditions. So yes, this is going to be interesting, as light infantry is not going to be enough to deal with these threats. So see, the battle points are counting up, and you have to have battle points in order to deploy these guys. Now those are mosquitoes coming in. Again, we should be decently protected. Most of our guys at least should be protected from mosquitoes. But those are the aerial assault units. So those guys are going to be moving out as ants start to attack. And those guys can assault the base. In fact, we're already down 3%. Okay, we're going to position them over there. Where is our combat engineer? I think it would be a wise idea to go ahead and build a facility over here. So it says there's 9 left. Search and destroy, boys. And then we're going to go ahead and speed it up. Yep, there they are. One enemy left, and this is the other problem that I have seen, is sometimes it can be quite difficult to track down that last. Woohoo! We've won our first battle. And we won. See, we only got 2 experience for that battle. We got 384 rough plastic, 13 toxic material, 45 chemical material, which I take it are elements that you need for construction, or I don't know how exactly all that's supposed to work. But at any rate, we did gather materials. And I think that's probably a pretty good place to leave it for this episode. Be sure to like, subscribe. Let me know in the comment section down below if you want to see more material in this game. But for $10, if you like strategy games, I won't say that this is the most in-depth game, but it does have a fair decent amount of content, and it is an awfully fun premise for $10. Especially later on, if you can find this game even cheaper than that on the Steam sale, I think it's worth picking up, if nothing else, for a few hours of entertainment. Again, this is another one of those games that I like to have a new one of these every couple of years to kind of play. I don't have a lot of time usually to play this type of game, but I do enjoy having one around for if it's a Sunday afternoon and I don't feel like getting into anything major. Because you can play this game for 10, 15, 20 minutes at a time, save, and go on from there. Until next time, see you later.